Hi guys and welcome to Horologique. Today we are gonna check 8 watches that are ridiculously good value for money that were actually selected by you guys, my viewers. And if you think that these will only be AliExpress watches, you're in for a wild treat, as we will be checking German watches, British watches, Japanese watches, and of course some AliExpress watches as well. We search everywhere there is value on this channel, and of course if that is something that you enjoy, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm gonna be leaving the links of these watches where available, and I wanted to start by thanking you, the people who replied and who made this video possible. But without further ado, let's go right away with the first watch in this selection. And how did I not think about this one? I have been talking to you guys about this watch for years. It is of course a Cigadesign NY0040. And this is a monument of diver watches. It was the eternal rival of the Seiko SKX, the entry-level diver by choice. It is rugged, reliable, with that 82 movement inside that is pretty unrefined, but that is a real workhorse that'll just keep on beating whatever you do to it. You can expect to find this watch at around the $180 to $220 mark. Here in Europe you can find it at around 180 to 200 euros. And as this is a legendary watch, that is actually an impressive price. 41 millimeters in diameter, only a mineral crystal. It was again the time where Japanese sports watches were only seen as needing mineral crystals. A lume that is pretty decent. It will not compete with the SKX or modern divers, for example, but it's quite okay. And a design that is quite stock in the 90s, but it is quite endearing as well. I like it very much. I have this watch, the version in titanium actually, and I have reviewed it on the channel. Go ahead and check this. I'm gonna leave you the links in the description. But anyway, a really strong entry. But talking about strong entries, Horologique suggested a watch that I have been wanting to review for a long time. It is the DUG Glashütte Purist. DUG, I'm not gonna tell you what it stands for, it is much too complex, I don't speak German, but it's a quite new company from Glashütte, of course, whose aim is to make the Glashütte experience attainable for us mere mortals. You know, brands like A. Lange & Son, of course, with watches costing upwards of $30, $40, $50,000, and more entry-level watches like Glashütte Original and brands like that, but that still will cost you a pretty penny. These DUG cost 1,100 euros, and for that you get a 41mm watch, a Type 1, which is pretty classical with baton indices, or a Type 2, which is very Germanic in design with those very nice looking numbers. But everything exudes refinement here, with that Sellita SW400 movement that, according to them, has been finished by hand in Glashütte. And if that is only partially true, then it is a real nice feat. But in any case, take a look at the watches. They look extremely nice looking. They're supposed to be regulated from 0 to +8, so very nice regulation. I really wish I could get one of these on my hands. 41 millimeters in diameter, a bit under 11 millimeters in thickness, 100 meters water resistant, sapphire sandwich of course, and you can take a look at that extremely nicely decorated movement and rotor at the back. The rotor is even 24 karat gold, so really impressive. I believe it is one of the most expensive watches that I have featured on this channel, but I believe that for this level of refinement, it can actually be conceived that this might be good value if it is everything that they are stating. Going from Germany to England with the Newmark 71 Sports, suggested by X-Power UK Audi, thank you very much sir. The 471 pound skin diver is a very cool design. We have seen this design before in the kinds of the Oris Diver 65, for example, and to some extent the Longines Legend Diver, of course, just with one crown. But if I talk to you about this one, it's because Newmark was a historic brand that was killed off during the quartz crisis and that was revived recently, and they have developed some models in here, this one included, and it does look pretty nice. It does have a fully metallic construction with that throwback design, which is complemented by a domed sapphire crystal. Inside beats a Miura 9039 with a higher beat of 28,800 beats per hour, and whenever you see this movement in a micro brand, you know it's a watch that is gonna be costing upwards of $500. It is 38 millimeters in diameter, so very nice vintage dimensions, 13 millimeters high because of that domed sapphire crystal, and 47 millimeters in lock tip to lock tip. You've got also water resistance of 200 meters. Thank you X-Power for that nice suggestion. Then we go to a classic suggested by Juju. It is of course the Orient Bambino. I don't think that I have suggested the Bambino because of many things. Because first of all, I do not know if the Bambino is still a good value. It was a good value when it was like $130, but I discovered that when you go to Joma shop, you can get it for 150, 160. At that price point, it is still a good value. The versions that you can get are of course the 41.5 millimeters with highly domed mineral crystals, but still the F6795 movement, which is in-house. So yeah, that kind of gives you the argument that these watches are still good value because a lot of the components that go into them are in-house. But the Bambino is a pretty simple watch, a legendary one though. It is a modern classic, and that is why I am including it in here and kind of agreeing with Juju on that matter. If we go to AliExpress, let's get to the Hruodland Turbine, and this one is a very cool entry, which I talked about quite recently. It is of course a homage of an IWC, so the design is not to the credit of Hruodland. However, you've got excellent lume in this watch, and you've got an excellent sapphire crystal in here, really clear and with excellent anti-reflective properties. When you flip it, you even can have a good look at that very cool Seagull ST3620 movement. And of course, the turbine at 6 is quite hypnotic, very nice, and I even, dare I say, prefer the design of this turbine than the one in the original one. Next watch in the selection, we stay on the AliExpress territory with the Sugess Chrono Heritage, suggested by Franco Mickey. This is indeed a very cool watch, a 40mm watch with a beautiful ST1901 mechanical chronograph movement on it, the same one than you can have in the Seagull or Red Star 1963. This version is the version with the Thunder Milgauss-like chronograph hand. It is the least expensive that I can see, besides from the actual 1963 that I have already talked to you about. It is much less expensive here in Europe at 116 euros. Because of the tariffs, it ends up being more expensive in the USA, still at a very reasonable $145. A very nice choice. Thank you very much, Franco Mickey, for calling to my attention. Next watch in this selection, a Cigadesign C Series, the one that actually looks like an Apple Watch, but which is mechanical inside. This one is quite an old model from Cigadesign, but it even won some kind of, I think it was the Red Dot Award or something like that back in the day, like in 2017. A very nice looking watch. I was curious of trying this one out. I might still get it. If you have it, please do let me know what you think about it. But you can have this one, at least here in Europe, you can have it for around 178 euros, which is, I believe, quite good for the little joke of having a mechanical Apple Watch that will not cost you an arm and leg like the H. Moser. And the last watch of the selection from my friend channel Bouton Rouge, it is of course the Martin SN0144 GMT. I understand why Bouton Rouge tried to include it here, because it is pretty much the cheapest way you can get the GMT, the Miura 9075 GMT on a watch. Maybe there have been some promotions here and there that make it a little bit less expensive, but especially here in Europe, if you go through SKB watches, you can get it for even less than 400 euros using code HR15. So that is great news, especially for this movement and for the quality of the watch that you're getting. You're getting an excellent watch for the price. But especially if you live in the USA, this watch is going to be quite expensive. It's going to run you above 500 euros. Is it worth it? I believe so. Is it worth it for an AliExpress watch? I don't know. I think there's a threshold above, let's say, $350 where AliExpress watches become just a little bit less interesting, because let's be honest, you never know for the warranty what's going to happen. So even though this watch is the least expensive way today to get that kind of movement on a watch, and even though it is excellent quality, I cannot fully agree with my good friend Josh that this watch is the best value that you can have. Excellent value, yes, maybe not the best value that you can have. So I really wanted to make that a little bit clear. If you can get it here in Europe for under 400 euros, then yes, go ahead, it is great value. But don't go paying $500 for this one. I believe that it is not worth it, especially given the potential risks that you're taking. And if you enjoy watches with crazy good value, I am certain that you will enjoy the previous videos that I have made about this subject. There's 4 of them right here in this playlist with incredible watches for which you will be wondering how they can be such great value. Thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you right away in these videos.